Hello, everyone, and welcome to Out of Nowhere. Well, we got a really interesting guy on tonight. His name is Joedy. Joedy is the head of North American Dogman project. He's a retired U.S. Army and Iraq War veteran. He's one of the most active dogmen and Bigfoot researchers in the state of Ohio. Originally, he was a member of the Cincinnati UFO Research Group. A.S.K, but realized that his interest was more in the field of cryptozoology. Can we please welcome Joedy to the show? Hello there.
Hey, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing all right.
That's
Thank you
good.
very much.
That's good.
For all the listeners who may not know you yet, how did you first get involved in researching Dogman and the Bigfoot phenomena?
I was a UFO researcher for years, and we had here in the States, we had a TV show on public access TV, and this was before cable came
Yeah.
out. And we did a live show the first Wednesday of every month, and we talked about UFO sightings, and we had a guest, and people could call in. Then we were getting a lot of different cryptid sightings that was coming in. So myself and George Clapperson, who's now deceased, decided we're going to go ahead and take these cryptid sightings and look at that and see if there's a connection between, UFOs, Bigfoot, and so forth. And kind of fell into it and really loved it and kind of stayed with it, kind of got out of the UFO stuff, went directly to Bigfoot, did Bigfoot research for years. You might know this as well as I do. I mean, the field has gotten so political, you know. It's becoming like a clique. If you don't have the right last name, you're not speaking at conferences, stuff like that. And I decided, this is this what I want, really be a part of. And then this new cryptid Dogman start coming, into light. And I said, this might be an interesting case. I did some research and found out, a lot of sightings that took place in the 70s and in the 80s and stuff. And I'm like, wow, there's something to this. And I went back to look at a lot of my reports from the 80s that I did on Bigfoot and then also in the 90s. And I noticed that some of these reports that we're getting, they were talking about the Bigfoot having like a snout or having legs like dog, had pointed ears and stuff. And this is like before the Dogman stuff actually got big. And I see a lot of these people, they weren't seeing Bigfoot, they were seeing a Dogman. And only thing they can identify it as was a Bigfoot, because Dogman was never ever heard of until, the late 1990s. And I just fell in love with it. It's a fascinating cryptid, very fascinating cryptid. And like you said, from there on, I created North American Dogman project. We've been getting a lot of different reports coming in, to the site. I mean, some really good ones. So yeah, it's getting excited.
I can imagine so because I wonder why we've got echo there. We've had lots of sightings in the UK down this northeast coast here.
Oh yeah. I've been doing some investigation, with some researchers in the UK on some of the Dogman stuff, and one sent me a bunch of police reports from the UK with, well, I guess you guys call it werewolves over there.
Yeah.
And a lot of, police reports where people were seeing what they say was, werewolf. And there's one big case, well, I can't remember the name of the area, where one was sighted with a German Shepherd in its mouth, and it jumped over a fence.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there in the UK, and I can't remember the name of the area off the top of my head, but I've got a whole file on that particular case there. Yeah, it was one of the best sightings. Hull.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Hall case. Yeah,
I know what you mean now.
yeah.
Yes. You know, when you talk about this, before the encounters, were you skeptical, neutral, or already open to the ideal of cryptids?
I was open to the idea of cryptids, but when I went out to the field, I was a lot skeptic because a lot of researchers, when they go out looking for Bigfoot, they're going to find Bigfoot evidence. Okay. And you can't go out looking for dog or Bigfoot evidence and find Bigfoot evidence because that's what you're looking for. If you see an impression in the ground, Bigfoot had to make it. If you found a tree branch that was broken, oh, Bigfoot had to do that. And you can't think that way. You have to be very skeptic. So I had this thought that is, I found evidence, and let's say there was a cryptid court, would I be able to persuade the jury with my evidence? And that's the way I looked at it when I collected evidence.
Yeah, true. Yeah, are these beings physical animals, something else entirely, or possibly multi-phenomena being grouped together?
Well, what we're finding out with our research that it comes into three categories: flesh and blood, supernatural, and interdimensional goes with part of that. And then there's a extraterrestrial aspect to Dogman also.
Yeah.
So we broke it up into three categories. So yeah, it's all in three. But the thing of it is, a lot of these sightings that we're getting, a lot of them go to the supernatural and other dimension, and then it goes into the flesh and blood, and then to the extraterrestrial part. So we get a lot of the supernatural stuff.
There's a question from Mason. Evening, Joedy. Do you think dogmen are from other planets?
Well, yes and no. Okay, and I'm going to tell you, we had a retired Air Force colonel that came to us and was talking to us that he was part of the Space Force before it actually became known as the Space Force.
Oh, yeah.
And he talked about how, we had a Space Force in existence for quite some time, and we dealt with other extraterrestrials. Okay. So there was one extraterrestrial species that works with the United States, and they told them about, or told us about, a particular species of alien and to watch out for them. And what this alien does is that they have clones, which are like werewolves, basically. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And what they do, they send them down to a planet to create havoc, to kill people, and then they come in to kill them off, to save the planet, to get the people to accept them, to trust them, and then they end up taking over the government. Okay. So is that a possibility? Yes. But here's another possibility too, that everybody knows about Star Wars. Okay.
Yeah.
So George Lucas, when he did the bar scene in Star Wars, there was two werewolves that were in there. Okay. He had Tim Baker specifically make two werewolves masks for that scene there. Okay. So if you go back and you look at some of the older books from, I guess, late 70s, early 80s about Star Wars, you'll see that particular species in there, the werewolf species.
Right.
Okay. But see, what a lot of people don't know, George Lucas was a Mason. Okay. And at the time, everybody who ran NASA were Masons. Okay. So George Lucas was able to see a lot of stuff that people in NASA was never allowed to see.
No.
Okay. So, give you a perfect example. Okay. You take CP30, the robot.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, Richard Hoagland wrote a book called Dark Mission, and he has a picture from the moon of a crash, and there was a robot laying there, and the head is CP30's head. I mean, you can Google it.
Yeah.
He saw a photograph of a ship that looked like the Millennium Falcon that was in a crater on the moon. So this is where he got all this stuff from for Star Wars. So he had to get the stuff about the werewolf type aliens from there too, because we do know through talking with a lot of people that were in the government and so forth that the United States did come across an alien species of canine in the early 1970s. Okay. There was a crash. They had bodies that were recovered, and they have live ones that were recovered.
Right.
And the one guy that told me said that they were so aggressive, they would not keep them in the States. They had them in a facility in South America. And they were apex predators. And he said that they ended up getting out of the facility and was creating havoc in a village, and they had to basically go down to eliminate them. But this is the one thing he said, because he said, I was part of this team that did this. And he goes, they were very intelligent, but they had no common sense. Meaning, like, if you shot at them, they wouldn't run for cover like normal people do.
Yeah.
They stood their ground. But he said they had a body armor that was very similar to like what you see on Halo. Okay. And this is the way he described it. And when I was going back looking at the Star Wars stuff, there was a picture of one of the werewolves from Star Wars that was actually wearing this same type of costume or outfit that he described, which was really interesting.
Very interesting, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, when you talk about that, because one of my questions was, do you think dogman encounters seem more aggressive than Bigfoot reports?
Oh yeah. They're definitely more aggressive. The difference, like with Bigfoot, when people have encounters with Bigfoot, it's usually accidental. Okay. Bigfoot very seldom is aggressive. He may let you know he's there. He'll throw a rock, stick, stuff like that, but he's not going to, go out and attack you. These things will. We've dealt with a lot of reports where these things are very aggressive. We had one report from a police officer in Louisiana that was going down a road one night, had no lights or anything on the road. He saw a large animal in the middle of the road eating something. He thought it was a bear, and he's like, well, wait a minute, we don't have bear down here.
No.
This is how big this thing was. So he pulls almost right up to it, and then he throws on the horn to kind of get it to move. And he said it stood up on two legs. He was able to see the back, the tail, and the high pointed ears. And it turned around and looked at him, and he said this was a werewolf. It was something like out of a movie. He said it ran and dove on the hood of his car and was trying to bust out the windshield. So he puts his car in reverse, does a 180, throws it off the vehicle, goes back to the station, reports it. Now, he says, I have it all on my dash cam. I have everything on my dash cam. Goes back, talks to the shift supervisor, shows him the vehicle, told him what happened, showed him the film. The shift supervisor told him to go home. Don't say anything to anybody. We'll take care of it. Come back to work tomorrow, and we'll go through this.
Yeah.
Comes back to work the following day. His cruiser's completely fixed. He talks to his shift supervisor about, what's going on. Shift supervisor acts like I have no idea what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Nothing happened last night. You did your shift. We didn't have no conversation. So this is the kind of stuff that we deal with, that we get from law enforcement.
Yeah, well, it's got to be bloody. It's got to be hard for the person what's telling the story as well, going back and telling your supervisor what you've seen, and then going back the day after and say, "Sorry, it didn't happen."
Yeah. I mean, I just did an investigation 2 days ago with another police officer, but he never called it in because he knew, you know, that if he called it in, he might get in trouble for it. And he goes, listen, law enforcement knows about Bigfoot and Dogman in Ohio. We have code names. Black cow is for Bigfoot. Black dog is for Dogman. So these are the codes that we use. But he said, going through, when you report it, you're dealing with a whole situation that you don't want to get into, because it's going to backfire on you. And he goes, I know, I looked it up. I saw your website. I notified you guys of it. I went out to the investigation area, talked to him, and he said, I can't say anything more. I can't report it, and these things are extremely aggressive. I mean, I have autopsy reports from people that were allegedly killed by Dogman.
Oh,
okay. And when you read these autopsy reports, the doctor you can tell he's having a really hard time trying to justify what he's saying in this report. But when he describes what happened to the body, there's no way a domestic dog did this. I mean, when you have 12-inch scrape marks that are 3 inches deep going in the back, the throat is ripped out. I mean, at one point the skin was pulled off of the body, and it's nuts that they're trying to cover this stuff up. And there's one particular autopsy report this is really chilling, and the family knows that this thing her mother was killed by a Dogman, because this thing has been seen around their house. And she has a petition that you can go sign asking the federal government to release it. They know that there was a Dogman that killed. And she states in the post for the signature that the government and the police are covering up my mother's death by a Dogman. And the autopsy report is, I mean, with the charts of the body and stuff, I mean, it was horrible what happened to this lady. And you can see those autopsy reports. They're on our website under the evidence page. So you can go on there. I think we have a page strictly for the autopsy. So you can go on the website and you can read those.
So you'll find them on there anyway.
Yeah, you can find them on there. Yeah.
All right. Have you ever felt you were being watched before seeing anything?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can feel it. You can feel it. It's a real heaviness. And at one point, where I was in the field, I had a growl that was literally, it felt like it was behind me, literally behind me. And when I turned around, there was nothing there. So yeah. Oh yeah.
It's strange. Well, I've been out as well, and you think, I know I was out with Paul Sinclair.
Yeah.
We were on tops at Bempton, and I went off on my own. I don't know why. I'm doing had me meter with me, and I shouted to Paul. I said, "Get here a minute." I said, "I feel as though somebody's watching me." I could feel it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a heaviness that you feel.
Yeah.
And, the hair on the back of your neck standing up, and you can just feel like the pressure.
Yeah. Because one of my questions here, how did your encounter affect you emotionally in that moment and afterwards?
I mean, I was scared. I left. I'm going to be honest with you. I left because if it whatever it was that literally made that growl and it echoed through my body, and it wasn't either it was cloaked or something, but it was nowhere. I couldn't see it. You know, that scared me. And I was smart enough to leave, leave the field. So I mean,
Exactly.
I'm telling you, there's times that where I've seen stuff and I ran after it literally to get a better look. But this was one of the situations that, you know, well, your manhood may not survive this.
Yeah.
So the best thing for you to do is just walk away.
Get
So,
away.
oh yeah, yeah.
Are there specific regions where dogman activity seems to concentrate?
Well, when in 2016, we combined our sightings into regions. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Pacific Northeast, and we're talking from Michigan going all the way down to Kentucky and going all the way up to Virginia and to New York, were the massive amount of sightings in the United States. And then the second most populated area was the Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas area. And then the third most area was the Pacific Northwest, which was California, Washington, and Oregon. And then the fourth was what we call the Four Corners, which is the four states that actually are right next to each other, which is like New Mexico, Arizona. Shoot, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm a bad American, so I should know all this stuff. But they call it the Four Corners. But that's the area there where Skinwalker Ranch and all that stuff is.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you notice? Do you notice patterns related to the time of day, whether it's night or morning, or when they're most active?
Well, we have pie charts on our website, so where we broke it down to where the time of day, the amount of sightings, the months throughout the year, the different seasons throughout the year. So there's really no difference between daytime and nighttime when it comes to sightings.
Right.
They're about the same. And what we're finding out, through winter, summer, spring, and fall and winter has the less amounts of sightings. Spring and summer has the most. And then when it comes to, like months and things throughout the year, it kind of basically breaks out to about the same, except when you go into the winter months, it's just a little bit lower.
Do you think these beings appear intelligence? Do you think they are intelligent?
Oh yeah, they're problem solvers. They definitely are, because we had one report where two girls were on a walk and they came in contact with one, and they were able to make it to their cars, lock the car. It came up to the car and was lifting the handle on the car, trying to get it open.
Oh.
And then we had one case where this woman was sitting in the living room with her children, waiting for her husband to come home. How the living room is set, then there's like a hallway, and the hallway goes down where the front door is, so you can't see the front door. So she heard the front door open and the door shut, and she heard footsteps. And she said, and now this is in Kentucky, down by Land Between the Lakes.
Oh yeah.
And she stated that this thing came into her house, looked at her and her children. She grabbed her children, put the children behind the couch, picked up an object, and was ready to, defend her children. And it looked at her and just walked right on back out, opened the door. And, so these are problem solving. And this is not the first time where they've came into a house. Like the little dog ports that you have in your door for your dog to go in and out.
Yeah.
one guy was in the kitchen making dinner, and his dog's barking, and he said this werewolf was trying to get through the dog port, trying to get his dog.
Oh,
So yeah, they're smart. They're pretty smart.
As witnesses reported communication, verbal or telepathic or otherwise.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We've had quite a few people that had encountered them, and they stated that through telepathy, they told them just go away, keep walking, things like that. Don't fear us, just leave. Yeah, we get a lot of that. And like I said, that's why we get, a lot of the stuff that's coming in has stuff to do with the supernatural and dimensions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question here. Has Joedy seen the movie Dog Soldiers?
Oh yeah, my favorite movie. I love that movie.
Has he seen it?
Yeah, I love it.
What's your thoughts on that, on the Dog Soldiers?
It fits the narrative of the UK's idea of werewolf. Okay, but I think that most people believe, like myself, that transformation is kind of impossible. It would really kill somebody because your bones would literally have to be cartilage in order for something like that to happen. One organism transform into another organism, but it's folklore. It's British folklore, and you have to accept it.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, but because the Native American Indians talk about it, don't they?
Oh yeah, yeah. They talk about the skinwalker, and they talk about the wolf that walks like a man. I'm trying to think, the Shawnee Indians have a representation of Dogman, and they have a representation of Bigfoot, but they won't let the white man see it because they believe if the white man was to see it, it would bring out the evil. It's the same thing like the Cherokee, like Cherokee Mass. Okay. One thing you'll notice, they all have a crooked nose. Okay.
Yes.
But the one for Bigfoot has a flat nose, and the one for Dogman that they have is an actual mass of a wolf with the high pointed ears, which is really interesting.
It is,
So,
isn't it?
yeah.
Very interesting. Many encounters include missing time. Don't know why. Orbs or other strange phenomena. What do you make of that?
We've only had about 2, maybe 3 sightings that came in where people talk about missing time, or when they had an encounter in one particular area, when they got their conscious back, they were in a different area. So I don't know how to describe that other than if they were able to do something through a dimension to move them from one area to another area, and maybe some way to make them forget what they saw. But is it also an extraterrestrial aspect to that? Were they abducted?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, possibility.
And do you think Dogman and Bigfoot are interdimensional?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's another theory we want to look at too, is the inner Earth theory. Okay, where the possibility of a whole civilization within the Earth, and that's where these cryptids basically come from. Bigfoot, Dogman, Mothman, the Goatman, the Rake. You take perfect example. All the lake monster sightings are all within the same parallel around the world.
Right.
Okay. Every lake monster. So either they're caverns that go undersea where they're able to move from continent to continent. That's a possibility. So same thing with with Dogman and Bigfoot. They're able to move through caverns from one location to another.
Yeah. Have you noticed similarities between cryptids encounters and UFOs or the paranormal experiences?
This is my personal opinion. Okay. I don't believe when it comes to, like, say, Bigfoot, that there's a UFO Bigfoot connection. Okay. Meaning that Bigfoot's an extraterrestrial or he's some pet they let out. Or, I mean, I even heard people talk about how Bigfoot's some criminal from some planet that was released on, Earth and stuff. I don't believe that.
No.
There's two possibilities what Bigfoot could be when it comes to the extraterrestrial part is that we had one person that was abducted, and she stated that when she was being examined, she looked over and saw a Bigfoot on the table next to her being examined.
Ooh.
So that, my personal belief, is the connection. When people see a UFO and then see Bigfoot, I believe the possibility that Bigfoot was abducted, he was released, or they're using him for whatever purposes because they're able to control his mind
Yeah.
because he's not intelligent, enough like we are. The second aspect of Bigfoot is that they could be just slipped my mind. The giants that walked the earth, before the floods.
Yeah.
Anunnakis, that's another possibility. The Bigfoot, because I mean, the Bigfoot sighting I had, I was probably 12 to 15 feet from him. Okay. And I had 4 or 3 other guys with me. And this was when I was in the Army, and this was on a military base. And his face was human. I mean, it was real human looking. He had a massive jaw. He had a human kind of nose that was kind of flat. Very muscular, long arms, long legs.
How tall was he?
He was about 7 feet. Yeah, from what I could gather, I was guessing about 7 feet. Brownish red color. The one characteristics about him, he was an older male. He was male. We were able to see that part. But he was losing his hair, like on the back of his head, his neck area, and his chest, and like parts of his arm. And his skin was like flaky looking, the part that was exposed. It kind of looked like mange a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like you see on a dog. And that's the one thing characteristic I noticed about him, was how his skin was. His eyes were like a reddish black. I didn't see any white whatsoever in his eyes, none whatsoever. But like I said, his face was extremely human. I mean, it was not ape at all. It was human.
I suppose when you see something like that, and if you had a gun in your hand, you'd think, shall I shoot or not?
No, actually, we were in a vehicle, and I was in charge of a 50 caliber gun range. I was getting people qualified on the 50 caliber machine gun.
Oh, yeah.
And one group took the weapons, back to the armory. We took the ammunition back to the A.S.K, and it was on a Friday. So we had to get there. We had like an hour to get there before it closed, or we had to stay with the ammo all weekend. And this was a free weekend, and we weren't going to do it. So we ended up going off-road on a military, installation, which you're not allowed to do. and the wood line was getting very heavy. And we decided to go back up on the road. And then we saw something move in front of us. We thought maybe a tree was falling. This is how big he was. And he just walked from our left to our right, and he was looking at us the whole time. But what was so weird about it, it was like he was gliding. The way he was walking, it was like
Yeah,
you
other
know.
people have said that as though he was floating.
Yeah, and that's what it was like. No smell whatsoever, no fear or anything. It was just like awe, when we saw this. And yeah, it was I never talked about it for like 15 years after I saw it.
Why was
Because
that then?
because it was very taboo for a Bigfoot researcher in the 90s to say I saw Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It was something no one ever did. So when I got home from Iraq, I ended up writing a book called Traces of the Grassman. And that's where I talk about that sighting in the book. And that was the first time I ever told anybody about it. Yeah.
Oh my God. Why do you think the mainstream science avoids the subject so strongly?
Well, here's the thing. Science does not want to be proven wrong. Okay. Science, if a Bigfoot body was found, if a Dogman body was found, science would catalog it as something other than what it is, because they don't want to come in and say that yes, another human species exists, even though you have physical evidence of it,
Yeah.
or there's some type of another species that is a apex predator. Okay, because when you have stuff like that, then if it's rare, it's going to get protected under law. Okay, and when you protect Bigfoot, you got to protect its environment. When you protect its environment, you stop logging. When you stop logging, companies close down, people don't have jobs, and
Yeah.
people lose everything. Okay. Same thing with Dogman, an apex predator. Okay. You have to protect it. Okay. So you can't have people out there killing it, even though it's trying to get into your home. Because here in the States, we do have particular animals that you can't kill, even though it's trying to get into your house, because it's protected. I mean, which is nuts. But
Well, I think in Washington State, you're not allowed to shoot a Bigfoot.
no, not allowed. You can go to jail for it. California has it too.
Marvelous,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't believe it's there, but they don't want you to kill it.
Well, the thing of it is, you praise the guy that killed the first Bigfoot to get it protected under federal law. You hate the second guy that killed it because he killed it for fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So it falls into that category. And what I tell my people is, if you're out in the field and you find a body, okay, don't do anything to it. Don't damage the body. Okay. Most people will say, okay, I'm going to cut the head off. I got proof, or I'm going to cut no. In the United States, you will go to jail quicker mutilating an animal corpse before you will killing the human. Okay. I mean, and that's just how it is. And you have to understand, I don't know how it is in the UK, but in the United States, any land, wooded land, it's either owned by the city, the county, the state, or the federal government. Okay. So if you go on land that is owned by either one of them and you take the body, they can charge you with theft for removing the body. Okay. So I tell my people, okay, you find a body. This is what you do. Try to pull a tooth out. Okay. That's where the DNA is. Okay. Take hair samples from different parts of the body. take measurements, photographs, swab the mouth. If you're able to extract blood before it's, it's coagulated,
Yeah.
Do that. Have blank pieces of paper with ink pad and a roller. Put ink on the bottom of the foot, on the the hands. Get copies of the paw prints. That way you can see the dermal ridges and things like that. And then don't call the police. The police are not going to know how to handle it. You notify, the DNR and have them come out and grab the body. But in the same time you're doing that, you got 2-3 of your friends out there videotaping you bringing them there to get the body. So you have physical evidence that there was a body there and it was removed. But don't damage the body because you'll go to jail real quick.
I know. Strange, isn't it? I think there's another question here from Ricky Allen. None of the cryptids appear in fossil records. Does Joedy consider this to be circumstantial evidence that they are genetically engineered?
It is a possibility, but here's the thing too, okay? You go into a museum and you see a dinosaur skeleton, okay? 80% of that skeleton is fake. There's only maybe 10, 20% of that skeleton is the actual fossil.
Yeah.
There's very few full skeleton dinosaurs, okay, in a museum, okay? So just because it's not in the fossil record doesn't mean that it didn't exist, because Mother Nature cleans up after itself. And you have to look at the environment too, okay, why certain species have never been found, because the environment has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah.
But I will lay money on it. If I had $1 million, I would lay that $1 million down, and I would say I guarantee the Smithsonian Institute has a Bigfoot body and has a Dogman body.
Oh yeah.
And probably a body of a different cryptid. I guarantee they have that. Because the thing is, they don't know what half the stuff they got, because if they have one specimen, they don't put it out. They pack it up until they get a second specimen, and then they'll put the second specimen out. So all the specimens that are out at the Smithsonian is because they have more than one.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So there's a real big possibility that they have a body.
Yeah, I think so as well. Rebecca's here. Hiya, Joedy. Has there been many successful prosecutions for harming or killing the Bigfoot?
Yeah, there's actually been 2 that I know of in the United States where people have claimed that they shot Bigfoot, and they were never put in jail, but they were prosecuted as far as being put on probation because of certain evidence that was found, and that they had possession of a firearm on federal land.
Right.
So those are the only 2 that I know of that was Bigfoot related.
Has any witnesses ever told you they were warned not to speak publicity?
One witness came forward and told us that they were told never to talk about what they see, or they will show up. And I believe that actually happened with someone from the Pentagon that was out at the Skinwalker Ranch, where one followed him home.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was. It's in a book called Skinwalker at the Pentagon, I believe the name of it is.
Right.
George Knapp wrote the book, so you might be able, I may say the title wrong, but if you look under George Knapp, it's called Skinwalker at the Pentagon, and he talks about how I guess he was told not to mention it, and he mentioned it, and it came to his house.
Right. I was going to get these photos up. Well, about 15 minutes left.
Okay.
I shall just go and find them. Should be. Right. I'll get one of them up.
Okay.
That one there. Let's have a look. If you can see it.
Yeah, they can go to the website. Now, these photographs are from the land between the lakes. There was a woman that contacted us where her and her husband
If I can get
was out at land between the lakes, and yeah, that's one of the better pictures. And she had the thermal, and she was just looking. It was pitch black, and then she caught this image out there, and they stopped, and she was filming it, and this thing's watching them, and it's moving back and forth, but it's carrying something, and she couldn't figure out what it was carrying. So she sent the video to us. We were able to run it through some filters, stabilize it, and what it is, it's a dog man holding a younger dog man. And like all of us who have children, if we pick the child up by the shoulders or by the arms and brings the child up, what's this child do? The child brings his knees up and tuck it in. And that's exactly what this thing was doing. And like I said, you can go on the website. They're on the very front page of the website. You can see it real clear where, this dog man's holding this young dog man. And it's probably some of the best evidence that we have of the beast of land between the lakes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another one there.
Yeah, that one's a breakdown of the line showing the dog man with a younger pup. And you can the video's actually on there. So you can look at the video and you can still see it in the video.
Yeah. Yeah, there's another one there.
Yeah, because she's kind of like walking around with it and moving, and where you can see it, and then she turns her back a little bit. There was another one there too, but in the video you can kind of see it come out a little bit and it goes back in.
Yeah, that one there as well.
Yeah, that's one of the better pictures of it. I mean, you can see the dog man's head. You can see the eyes, the high pointed ears.
You can,
and
yeah.
You can see how it's holding under the arms, the younger one, and how you can see how it has its legs up. And I sent you a drawing that we did in there also, if you want to show that, to give people a better idea of what it looks like. I believe I sent you the color drawing. Yeah. Yeah. So right there. Yeah.
Yeah, what it looks like.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly, what's in that video.
Amazing photos, aren't they?
Yeah, they're neat. And, what's really interesting after we post that, our website provider contacted us at one time in the past that we're letting you know that a lot of 3-letter agencies have been monitoring your site, so we're giving you a heads up. And not just from the United States, we've had actually the intelligence from the British military on our site, the German, Australian. We've had the Chinese, we've had the Russians, monitoring our site, looking at our stuff. And it kind of died down, but as soon as we put that video up and pictures, it picked back up again, where a lot of these 3-letter agencies are looking at our site. So I don't know if there are employees that are on their lunch break and they're just surfing the web on a government computer. But the IP addresses are coming back as government, FBI, CIA,
keeping a
NSA. Yeah,
keeping a tab on you.
yeah. I'm thinking they are. So, but we haven't been threatened yet, so that's the good part.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
How have these encounters changed people's lives long term then?
A lot of people that we've dealt with looked at it as a honor that they were able to see it. And then we've had some people that are having a really hard time coping with what they've seen. One particular person was a minister. And, he's like, it kind of changed my whole aspect on religion,
Right.
And I told him, I said, we don't know if these things are demons. We don't know if they're angels. We don't know what they are, but assure yourself God created this. And that's the way you need to look at it. So he contacts us now and then, letting us know that, hey, things are doing okay with him compared to how it was. But yeah, it really affected him. And we get some people where it does affect them.
I can imagine it does. Because my next question was, why do so many witnesses wait for years before coming forward?
Because they don't want to be humiliated, or laughed at. Now people are coming forward with no problem. I mean, military people, police officers. We've had a government official come to us about a sighting. But no one has ever told us, don't say anything, don't put our names out, because it's more acceptable now than it was back in the 80s or maybe in the 90s or the early 2000s. It's really acceptable now because people truly believe that there's stuff out there that we just don't know about yet.
Oh, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's different other creatures maybe coming through as well eventually. What's the most common emotional response you hear from experiences? Fear, awe, or confusion?
Mostly fair. Mostly fair. I mean, why wouldn't you be fair? I mean, I think fair would overwhelm the confusement, because you would be fair first and then you would question later what you saw. And that's what most people do. They see something, they're fair, and then they want to go and look up what they saw. They want to go on the internet, search the internet. Okay, I saw something like this. And they want to try to justify what they saw so they don't think that they're crazy or they're losing it. They just want to justify what they saw is real, and they're not the only person out there that is seeing these things.
How do you see the cryptid research evolving over the next decade?
I don't think it's going to involve a lot because, like I said, even the Dogman field is getting so bad and so much fighting and so much jealousy. I just don't see any change. I would love to see everybody work together for the same common goal to prove the existence, but people, they want to be the one to find $1 million shot.
Oh,
you know
God.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's no $1 million shot. You're not going to get $1 million. But I use that as a term is that there's a whole lot of people in this field, okay, in the cryptid field that are very well known, okay? And I know these people. I know they're only in it for fame and fortune and
Correct.
the pat on the back and stuff like that. There's not a whole lot of people in this field that's in it because they love to do it. And that's the truth. And
And
that's the part you got to get away from is that, I don't care if I'm on a TV show. I don't care, if I'm not in some documentary. Okay. That doesn't define who I am. My own research defies who I am.
correct. Like you say, there's a lot of people out there what don't even go and do the research. They've done it
No,
years ago, and it's just same thing. They go and speak at a conference, and it's same stuff all the time.
they sit in front of a computer, and they do all their research there. They don't go out to the field. They don't, go and talk to, and do an actual report on a sighting or actually sit down and talk to the witness. They go by what a witness emailed them. So
Yeah,
that's all they go with. They do no follow-ups whatsoever.
it's true that if the species were conclusively proven tomorrow, what do you think would happen next?
I thought about this. I see a whole lot of people probably moving on to another cryptid because it takes all the fun away now that that's been it's been found. But
Yeah,
on some cases, like with myself, I would love it because that's going to make me want to go out more and look for it. I think that, like you said, a lot of people will just be upset about it. Because they live for it.
they
And if
do.
it's found, it's like, what am I going to do now? And, there's still more work to be done.
I would say, because I speak to a lot of them, they say, I'll say, what are you doing at week? We'll be out at weekend. We
Oh,
love
yeah.
going out on a weekend. We all meet up and we go out.
Oh, yeah.
And he
Yeah.
said, I love going out, camping out, camping out at night time in some weird places, but we just love doing it.
Because the thing of it is, what people don't realize, a lot of these sightings are accidental sightings. It's not like people are actually going out looking for it. It's something that just happened by accident.
Yeah. Is there, well, we're doing for time. Yeah, we've got about 4 minutes left. Is there any misconception about Bigfoot or the North American ape that you want to clear up?
Rephrase that again.
Is there any misconception about Bigfoot or the North American ape that you want to clear up?
Well, we call Bigfoot the North American ape. Okay.
Right.
Now, let me put it to you this way. You have Bigfoot in United States, Canada, okay, and then you have the A.S.K in Russia, Yeti in Himalayas,
Yahweh in Australia.
yeah, and Yowie in Australia. They're all the same breed. They're all the same species, but they're the different breeds of the species. Okay. Just like you have dogs, which is a canine, but you have different breeds, but they're
Yeah.
all the same species. And they're all the same thing. Their characteristics are different, their size are different, their colors are different, their appearances are different. Okay. It's because of the environment that they're in. So, like I said, we've always called Bigfoot, but now a lot of these researchers are called the North American ape. So I think that I like that phrase a little bit better because it's not that it's scientific. It just it phrases it better. It's like, give an example, Dogman. I don't like the term Dogman. I think man dog would have been better term. Even Linda Godfrey even said that the term man dog would have been a better phrase than dog man.
Yeah. So what's next for you then?
Nothing. We're just, like I said, we're doing a lot of research right now. We're doing a lot of investigations.
Have you got another book coming up?
No, I'm done with doing my books. I might be we might be on they brought back Monster Quest.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we might be doing an episode with them in the future. The North American Dogman Project is actually going to start a podcast next month.
Oh, brilliant.
So, yeah, so we're going to be doing our own podcast. So that's going to be really interesting.
Sounds very interesting.
Yeah,
Seems you've
it's going
still
to be
got a
fun.
lot. See, it seems to be you've still got lots on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be doing this for quite some time.
And still getting out at weekends.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I go out on the weekends. Sometimes I go out during the week if it gives me the time. But yeah, I love it. We've got a good group of researchers that go out and do research. We follow up on a lot of the stuff that we got coming into the site.
Oh, that's great. You do right getting out. It's good fun, I reckon.
Oh yeah.
And you're with like-minded people as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's
No
been very
problem.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime. Anytime. I love doing this.
I know you do. I know you do. And I'll tell Paul anyway. I bet he's gone out tonight, Paul, researching.
There you go.
I live in the same house as Paul, you know.
Yeah, I figured he would have been on the show.
Yeah, but he usually goes out on a Wednesday night and meets some lads up there. But it's still snowing a bit, so he might be in his shed. He might be listening to the show. I would have thought he would have come up. So I live in top flat. He lives in bottom flat.
He's out at the pub.
But thank you again.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Great, Joedy.
Yeah, please check out our website. A lot of good information on there. And if you have any questions, there's a email that says navdquestions@hotmail.com. Just go ahead and, if you have a question, go ahead and drop us an email.
And where can they get your books?
Amazon.com. American Amazon. I don't know if they're on UK Amazon or not.
Right.
They might be.
Yeah, they might be on there. They'll have to go and have a look anyway, won't they?
Yeah. So
I'm sure
they'll be able to find them on there.
Oh yeah. Right. Lovely. Thank you very much.
All right, brother. You have a good one.
Yeah, cheers. And you too. Have a lovely week.
You
Carry
too.
on what you're doing.
All right. You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My guest on Friday is Brett Thomas. He's an experienced, he's a paranormal investigator, phenomenon. The world of strange and unusual. It became cataclysmic paranormal portal beginning in 2016. It gave him the opportunity to speak experiences as an author, researcher, and all sorts. So he's on Friday. This Friday coming. That'll be the 9th of January at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific, and 7 p.m. in the UK. Right. Thank you very much, everybody. Everybody in the chat room. It's always nice to have people in chat room and asking questions. So I will say good night and God bless wherever you are. Bye for now.